Good day and welcome to the Millennial Seafarers. So I'm Engineer Mao, one of the admin of the page, and for this session, I will be teaching you on how to operate the boiler, on how to fire the boiler. So here the exercise will be from firing the boiler. Supposed to be it's from cold condition, but then again, if you will see here in our boiler combustion or in the oil-fired boiler panel, it has already a pressure. So supposed to be it's from a cold condition. So I will teach you step-by-step process on how to raise the steam pressure of the boiler and how to operate the boiler in burner management mode using heavy fuel oil. So first of all, you should be familiar with the sequence on how to prepare the boiler. First of all, you need to set up the feed water system, which is in panel 80. And then after that one is that we need to make sure that all the main steam stop valve are closed, the vents are open for the initial firing, and all the necessary valves for the feed water system lined up. And then for the boiler combustion, you need to line up the DO side first. Then once you have already established normal firing using DO, line up the FO before changing over to the fuel oil side. Okay, so here is where the action, mostly action will be taking place. So let's start. We need to run the simulator. Okay, once you have run the simulator, we need to acknowledge all the alarms. So in acknowledging all the alarms, you need to click on the alarm panel with these blinking red lights, and then acknowledge the alarm, specific alarms, by also clicking the blinking parameters in red. Because if you will not acknowledge these alarms in a fast amount of time or quickly, then this will also affect your overall score. So let me just acknowledge all the alarms first. Later on, so that we can have a fluid discussion, I will be disregarding the alarms not related to boiler. First, we need to start with the feed water system. As you can see here, our boiler water drum is empty. Therefore, we need to fill it up first by using our feed pump. Okay, so you should need to set up and line up all the valves here. So you can open this valve. This is a recirculation valve going in. And then you have two feeding valves here, which is connected to these two pumps here. Okay, so you can open both these pumps and make sure that the drain or the blowdown valves are all closed. Then you can run one of the two pumps here. Either of the two can suffice. If you want a faster filling up of the boiler water drum, you can also run the other pump. So as you can see here, the level is already rising with the negative value getting closer and closer to zero. So let's fill up the boiler to a particular amount just to get rid of the red color of the level. You can already open another recirculating valve here for your circulating pump later on. And if you have a low level of the feed water tank, you can fill it up from the distilled freshwater tank by just actuating this pump. Let's wait for the boiler drum to have a normal water level. And make sure that you open all vents first during the initial filling up of the drum. And once you have reached the desired level, you can already shut off the vent valve. So once we have removed the alarm, we can already stop one of the pump. Okay, give circulating pump to auto. And now let's go. You can now already close the vent. It's just to remove the vacuum pressure so that the feed water pump will have no difficulty pumping in feed water to the drum. Let's go to panel 8.1. Just put this tamper control to auto for our operation later on, so that we need not go back to this panel. In the oil-fired boiler, just open the vent for the initial pressure buildup. Make sure that the main steam stop valves are closed. This one is the main steam stop valve, and this one is the stop valve for the turbo generator and other deck machineries. So make sure that this valve here and this valve here are open, and you can put the two pumps in automatic condition. Before you go to the boiler combustion panel and the boiler combustion panel, you need to line up the DO pump first. Okay. Open. This is the valve going into the boiler, and also you can already line up the fuel oil. And this is the valve also going to the boiler. Once we have already lined up our diesel oil pump, make sure that the three-way valve is still on the direction of diesel oil pump. And also because in initial startup, the steam pressure supposed to be is not that high. So first we will be using the atomizing air as our atomizing medium. Turn on the boiler air fan as preparation for the purging. And we need to manually purge the boiler first before we can do intermittent firing. For the fuel oil, you can also run the pump in recirculation for the preparation. So you can already open the heating valves here for the heating of your fuel oil pumps. So don't worry if you will be running the pump and the three-way valve is still in the DO side, because again, it does have a recirculating line. Okay, so once you have already turned on the boiler fan, you need to set the setting of your airflow control to 100 for the purging operation. So take note that it is still in manual mode. Then you can already start the purging. Reset the alarm if you have any alarm. And as you can see, the black color here turned into gray. It symbolizes the purging process that is ongoing, and once it is completed, it will be turned back to the black color. And the start button here will be retaliated, will be pushed up. As you can see here, once you have seen that this part here is in black color, it means that the purging process is already complete. So now, if you have to do intermittent firing first in order to prevent thermal stress to your boiler, just set the airflow control to 10, the oil flow control to 10, And then we can manually do intermittent firing of the boiler. So you can turn on this burner here, but before that, make sure that the DO pump is already running and that the pressure is already stable before we can manually fire, or we can manually do intermittent fire. So with this, we can already do one round of intermittent fire. Usually, we do it in 3 stages. In the actual operation of the boiler, it will take quite some time with 30-minute interval per stages. But here, since this is a simulation, you can do it for 30 seconds per stage. So I will be just doing one stage of the intermittent firing process just to make this explanation short. So as you can see here, the one of the burner is already fired. So let's just wait for 30 seconds. 30 seconds firing. So the one purge, one fire, that already comprises one stage of the intermittent fire. And in order to do a effective intermittent firing, you need to repeat it 3 times or 3 stages of that one. For example, we have already done firing the boiler. So as a precaution, moving into the second stage of intermittent firing, please do not forget to again do the purging process before each stages so that you can be certain that no furnace explosion will happen. So let's set again the airflow control to 100, and then we need to do another purging process. So again, we will start the purging. Once the purging is complete, you can proceed to the next stage of the intermittent fire. But for demonstration purposes only, I will just only do one stage of intermittent fire. So the purging process is already done. Now, assuming that I have completed intermittent firing, the next thing that I will do is to normally fire the boiler using DO just to build up steam pressure. So one of the hacks there is just to right-click the burner management control panel at this portion, and then a checklist will pop up, and this will be your guide on how to achieve the burner management control ready status using DO. So first, make sure that the selector switch is at the appropriate position, which is the low and the diesel oil. Then, as you can see here, in our checklist, we have 3 that is not yet lit, which is the master controller auto, this one. And we also have airflow controller auto and oil flow control auto. So before we set these things to auto, please make sure to adjust the airflow control at its manual setting to 10. Okay. So in order to make these 4 parameters here, in order to change over to auto, the correct sequence will be left. Airflow control first, right? Oil flow control, down, oxygen control, and up, which is the master control. Once you have already switched over these controls to the auto position, you can see that all the lights here are lit, and then the ready lamp is also turned on. So in that case, you can already turn on the burner management control. So this is the automatic mode of the boiler. We're in the low setting. Okay. The burner 1 will start at steam pressure of 6.10, and it will automatically stop at a pressure of 7.50. Okay, and then the burner 2 will automatically start which is in assistance to the burner 1, it will automatically start at the 0 bar here. Okay, so the burner 1 will have this setting for automatic firing. You can change any of these settings if you want to, but I suggest that you don't. Okay, as you can see here, burner 1 is already firing because the boiler or the steam pressure is below 6 and it's currently at 4.75. Okay, so in order to build up pressure much faster, I recommend you can manually turn on burner number 2. Even though it's in automatic mode, you can still override the manual firing of your boiler. Okay, so burner number 2 will help burner number 1 in order for us to achieve steam pressure. So in order to contain that steam pressure, once you have already normally operated your boiler, you can already close the vent valve. And once it reaches pressures of 5 to 6, then you can also gradually open the main steam stop valve at an increment of 10. Just to simulate the real world application of this one. Okay. But to make our explanation much faster, we can fast forward the opening of this one. For example, just set this to 60. But again, I would recommend you need to gradually open these two valves by increments of 10. But for demonstration purposes, I'm just expediting my explanation here, so I will just set it to 100. So here, all the steam is going to the auxiliary steam lines and to all other lines that it is needed, and also steam is also provided for the turbogen and deck machinery for warm up in order for them to be ready to use in the later operation. So again, we need to check all the parameters that we have. As you can see here, the water level is maintained at normal level. One feed pump is running and circulating pump is in automatic mode. In the oil-fired boiler, these two circulating pumps is in auto mode. So, steam pressure is already increasing, 5.63. And let's go back to our boiler combustion panel. So right here is that we already have the boiler control management control on using DO. So let's monitor the temperature of our fuel oil with this number here. Once it reaches 90, we can do change over to heavy fuel oil. And check your steam pressure if it's already above 5. And that the main steam stop valve is already fully open, we can switch over the atomizing medium from atomizing air to atomizing steam. So first open this valve, then right click for the changeover, then make sure to monitor that the pressure does not fluctuates or goes down. You can already secure the atomizing air valve. Now temperature of the heavy fuel oil is already 97 or 98, then we can already stop, or we can already change over from DO to HFO. So first, if you have found that the burner is in this situation, which is still firing, you need to manually turn off both burners because you cannot change over if the burner is firing. It's one of the safety interlocks of the system. So once the flame is out, switch over the three-way valve with the right click. So it's already in the HFO side. Change over the selector switch to HFO. And again, click the burner management control panel in order for you to confirm that all the preparations and checklists is complied before you turn on the burner management control. You can see here, all the things here are complied and the burner management control ready lamp is lit. Therefore, I can already turn it on. Now, the word of reminder is that since this is already an automatic mode, it will be the one who will be doing all the sequences, the firing sequence that is necessary to have a safe operation. Therefore, there's no need to manually purge the boiler. Okay? Once you see that the ready light is on, you can already turn it on the burner management control panel. As you can see, it will already automatically start the firing sequence with the purging process. Okay. If you are aiming for a higher steam pressure, for higher steam demand, you can also switch over the firing setting to high if you want, depending on your steam demand. That's it. The burner is again firing using heavy fuel oil under burner management control, and all the parameters are in normal condition. That's it, and hope you learned something from this session. Have a good day and keep safe. Kudos.